I can get us live in there. It's just putting a wrong title, a wrong. Maybe I can just. We're just going to go with it. All right, everyone. First of all, thank you for putting up with. Once more, Wyatt, turn the camera, please. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us. We've been having some significant technical difficulties getting this working, but it does appear that we are streaming live now. We're doing the first of these deep dives with Destin episodes, recordings, whatever you want to call it, where we're going to be taking two. Wyatt, your hand is across part of the camera. Great, thank you. We're going to be doing a deep dive, hopefully with 2 men, assuming both y'all are here, through a series of questions, diving into the depths of what's really going on for you in your life, seeing what we can pull away of the layers of protection, layers of things that perhaps you're unconscious to, and start to bring a greater degree of awareness to them, and see what kind of insight we can create for you. Transformation occurs in a moment. Transformation occurs where suddenly you see something from a new perspective, where you suddenly have that light bulb moment, that insight that you didn't have before, and that difference that makes the difference, from which everything afterward changes as a result. And that is really my focus on here with you today. Or at the very least, what we'll do is really clarify like what your next step should be, like where to place your attention, what to do leaving here that will lead to that next breakthrough. I want to thank you for your willingness to show up in this way. I know that it's vulnerable. And with that, why don't you just tell us a little bit about you first? Who are you?
Yeah, so my name's Wyatt Brickens. I'm 38 years old. I was born and raised in Santa Barbara, California. From the outside, probably had a pretty privileged life, and things went pretty well. I got kind of caught up in drugs, and mainly it kind of started from being told that I had a learning disability, and so I wasn't smart, and it kind of ended up being like my role in the classroom was always like class clown, disruptive, mischievous, and so I kind of identified with that. It was where I found a lot of friends. I found a lot of peace and just kind of identifying and holding on to that for a long time. But when I got older and wanted to gain some respect and hold a good job and have a steady relationship with a woman and then moving into wanting to have a family and stuff like that, it was really, really hard to break away from a lot of that identity that kind of keeps popping up into my life. I think the wanting to please people and wanting to constantly like feel good and be in like good standing with people and not causing controversy, especially like, with my family and some of the things that have happened in that area, and just been cheated on a lot. And I think sorry, this motorcycle. Cheated on a lot by most girls, and I think I'm always like the nice guy, and I just let things slide and let things go most of the time. And I've had periods in my life where it sounds like you're muted.
So where has that left you? Let's start to drill into. You're in a bit of a crisis moment at this time in life.
Yes, I am.
And I tend to have the perspective. Yes, in a moment. I tend to find crisis moments kind of exciting, and I know that's a little hard to take. Great. That's when you're in it, they're fucking intense. I don't, I'm not in denial about that. I've had plenty of them myself.
Absolutely.
And they are choice points in our lives. And you can scour the internet, and it doesn't take long to find plenty of, especially, we'll just focus on men here, men who have had a crisis moment in their life, particularly as it relates to women, and have allowed it to spin them downward into states of despair that can lead to cynicism and bitterness, and some men who stay there for years, sometimes even decades. Now, the other opportunity that we have is to allow these types of crises to catalyze something inside of ourselves, to act as this incredible jolt of energy that we can then utilize to spin ourselves upward, to create positive change and rapidly move in the direction of creating the lives that we want to be creating, becoming the men that we know in our heart we're really here to be. And so that's my approach here with you today. And it sounds like you are able to understand that perspective already.
Yeah, I think that I've been through this before, and I feel like every time I've had a situation that's been challenging or, seems like it's going to be like the end of the world, I bounce back really quickly, and I end up with way more than I ever had when I went through it, and I feel like this is one of those times where everything I've asked for to be removed from my life is now gone, but it's also really lonely, and it's scary to have everything taken away from you so fast. And I didn't expect it to happen like that.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics so that we can ground it in a way that the people who are watching or listening can find value in. In as much detail, as clearly as you're able to express it, what's happened over the past couple of weeks?
So I was in a relationship with a girl, very much in love with her. I've known her for actually a long time in my life. And
how long is it going to be until you're able to be, I want to say stable, but that's a whole other part of this conversation, before you'll be able to sit in one spot?
I'm walking a block down to go try and go to my friend's house and plug in my phone because I didn't want to go back in the restaurant and have that noise that you had.
Okay, let's just keep moving forward, please.
Okay.
So
I'll be as stable as I can.
Over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah. So over the past couple of weeks, we had everything was going great. We had a child on the way. I was super excited. I've been wanting to be a dad for my whole life. I couldn't have been more happy with the situation, and it almost was like overnight something had changed. I don't know what happened to her, or if there was something that was like a dream or something. I don't know what happened, but she woke up and she was different one day, and all of a sudden there was no trust. There was a lot of anxiety. There was a lot of accusing and pointing fingers, and I couldn't understand because this wasn't like her. I've been dating her, and she's never once displayed any kind of behavior like this. So I was.
How long have the two of you been together?
We've been dating for only about 4 or 5 months. We've known each other for about 18 years.
And how far along in her pregnancy was she?
She was right about 3 months.
Okay, so it was very quickly after you began dating.
Yes, it happened rather quickly. Not as we would have liked it to have been, but at the same time, we were trying to make the best of it, and she was at least happy to know that I was excited about it because she's had people want to leave because of the situation before. So I was trying to be, trying to overcome all the bad things that she experienced with guys previous to me. I was trying to, not only just be myself, but I was trying to be everything that these other guys weren't.
I'm sure there are many men watching or listening to this who can identify with that. But let's pause that for a moment and let's get back into. So she was 3 months pregnant
Yes.
with your child. You were ecstatic about this. You've been looking forward to being a father, and here it finally is. And then she, one day, through your perception, overnight something changed. She woke up and started engaging with you in a completely different way. Can you just say a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So she woke up one day. We've had problems with people coming over and things going missing, and we've seen them on camera. We found out who it was and stuff, and it's been kind of a common theme. But she woke up one day and she thought that I stole her wedding ring. She used to be married, and
okay.
I've never seen the thing, but that was I almost thought it was a joke because for one, I don't take things that aren't mine. And two, I've never, like, all my example and all of everything that I've been in her life has displayed a level of honesty and trust in her, and just kind of like a level of integrity that I was just kind of appalled at the notion that she would even consider it, and not just ask me, hey, this is gone, we need to figure this out together.
Okay.
So
she discovered her wedding ring missing. She blamed you for this. And
yes.
Is that the moment when things started, where things changed?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. And just let's speed this along just so we have the full context first. Where is she in, like, what's going on with your relationship today?
Today we're not talking. We've broken up. We've gone our own way. She still has a few.
Your audio is crap. Your audio is crap, man.
Okay. She has. We've gone our own way. We've broken up. We weren't talking at the moment, and we are. Yeah, we are trying to be friends, be civil. Most of the time when I've talked to her, there's been I have to be very careful. Like, I'm on, like, walking on eggshells, because if anything gets brought up that's close to one of her ideas, or something about me being dishonest or something like that, it turns into like a free fall. And she's also started like drinking a lot because of the miscarriage. And so getting her on a sober.
We haven't even touched that yet, but I will say, please hold the phone with your other hand, hold it on the other side. You keep putting your thumb over the camera. Thank you. So
I was trying to block the wind from hitting the speaker there.
Okay. When did she miscarry?
It was about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so where was that in relation to?
Actually, about 1 week ago. I'm sorry about that. 1 week.
Where was this in relation to you? Her accusing you of the wedding ring.
The miscarriage. She accused me of the wedding ring about 4 or 5 days prior to the miscarriage. Prior to the miscarriage, yes.
Okay, so it's not simply a matter of her having the miscarriage and then looking for things or ways to further sabotage things or be upset. It sounds like more, just as much as you are going through a crisis right now, she is clearly going through her own crisis right now.
I agree. There's another factor to this that I haven't brought up yet. So, because of her recent divorce, her I guess ex-husband called CPS, and she had her other 2 kids taken away from her. So she's currently in the process of trying to get her kids back. I think that she may have been looking for some sort of person to distract her. I didn't really realize that at the time of the relationship. But
so there's a lot to address here, and it's not even just the pieces that you're trying to point towards. It's more that why. Put simply, this woman seems like quite a piece of work. Like, she's clearly dealing with a lot of really intense issues herself right now, which leads to the question, why is this the woman that you were choosing? Why is this the woman that you impregnated? Why is this the woman that you decided that you wanted to raise a child with?
I guess one thing was I saw what type of parent she was to her kids, and the level of the competence that she had, and it was amazing. I've never really seen that before, and was really impressed with her ability to be a mom, even through all the stuff she was going through. And I was not planning on getting her pregnant, like when she did, but we were talking about excited for me to be a part of her family, and hope, and maybe like extending it and adding on to it, and it was something that like I felt really good about. Because the person that I interacted with and was around for those first 2 or 3 months was someone that I trusted, and I saw how she acted. I saw how she handled problems. I saw how she dealt with things in real life. And I thought, this is someone that I could really see getting along with, and like also matching up with my values and stuff. I didn't want to raise a child with someone who had a different idea of how to raise a child.
Okay, so what about we've heard a bit about her shadow side and unconscious projections onto you. It also leads, though, to your level of your ability to have open, honest conversation with her. A woman who,
Hmm.
yes, it is a relatively short relationship, but at the same time, you were also looking to raise a child together. It leads to the questions as to her level of trust in you, quite frankly, shown
Hmm.
both in the accusation, but then also the miscarriage can also be tied up in her ability to really have that trust. And so if she's not feeling, now there are elements of this that are yours, there are the elements of this that are hers. She's not here. I'm not here to try to solve things for her. I'm here to be of support to you. So that's where we're going to keep bringing the attention back to. You started to speak about your commitment to integrity. What does integrity really mean to you?
I guess like the integrity is something where, if you say something to somebody, or if you display yourself to be a certain type of person where there's some expectations behind it, that you follow through on it.
Okay, so a follow through on your word, being of your word, is an aspect of integrity for you. Cool. Is there anything else that you would call or consider an indication of integrity?
I think integrity is like having some sort of direction or some sort of moral compass. Like you know who you are, and what you stand for, what your yes and your no is, and being able to keep your own integrity. Being able to, which I think I've faltered on a few times, but I do find that integrity is found in people's choices.
Mm-hmm. So, all in all, I like all of that. One thing that I have found is that if we hold ourselves up to be 100% integrous, or hold anybody else up to be 100% integrity, 100% of the time, we're going to be disappointed. That is, hold on one second, this just changed. That's just asking for trouble. That integrity for me is also that willingness to do whatever it takes to get back into integrity when you falter. Mm-hmm. So it isn't that you faltered, it's what you do in those moments of having faltered.
I agree with that.
A couple of things clearly came to your mind as to where you I keep hearing somebody's laughter or other noises in your background. Anything? Is there?
I'm sorry, my headphones are. There's a guy down the street from me. You can try going around the corner, I guess. I don't want to run out of batteries.
So next time if we ever do this again, please make sure you're in a stable place before we speak. All right.
Yeah, I would have liked to have gotten a call from you or something to let me know what was going on. That would have helped.
Our system for this could have definitely been tightened. Thank you. So now that we're here, these two moments of where you have faltered in your integrity, something clearly came to your mind when you were speaking about integrity. I also see that there's a part of you that wants to kind of just gloss past it. But what did you do in those moments of broken integrity?
There was a decision that I said that I was going to make, and part of that was when I relapsed a little bit, and I said I was going to go back on my medication, and I didn't right away. I said that I was going to, and I waited 3 or 4 days, and then I did, and I know that hurt her, and that created a lot of distrust, and I think just kind of said like I'm just full of shit, and I'm just going to say whatever I can to get what I need, and that's just how I operate.
I'm sorry, is this what she said to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So Here's a big piece that I really like for everyone to have a deeper understanding of is how we all carry our wounds about the opposite sex, so to speak. Now, everything from our family and parental relationships growing up, other childhood experiences, as well as our adult relationships, we've all left their wounds on us that then we carry into our next relationship and our next relationship, unless or until they are truly confronted and healed or moved through. This is the value of that can come about of truly long-term relationships or marriages, what have you, is if there is that willingness of both parties to just keep going deeper, to just keep moving into yes, this wound came up. This wound came up, and can you move through it together? And sometimes it can be moved through relatively quickly. Sometimes it takes weeks, sometimes months, sometimes years. But this is where I found the value of true commitment that I would like to see more of in our current world. I don't think I truly understood it until I was in it. So you both brought your wounds into this relationship with each other.
Yes.
While she is reflecting back to you the ways in which you are full of shit, the ways in which you don't have integrity, how you will lie and say or do anything. Now, this is likely partly projection based on ways in which she's been hurt before. And it's also hitting you in some way because it is touching upon something that's inside of you. Now, maybe it's directly tied up with your feelings about your own integrity, your own honesty, your places where you've been dishonest, or ways in which you have said or done what you think that you need to do in order to get by. My guess, and you tell me if this is right or wrong, is that it actually touches the people pleaser in you. That one, there's an aspect of that that's like, that's so not the way you want, the way you like to think of yourself.
Yes.
But at the same time, there's a certain truth in it, because people pleasers, folks who tend to be conflict avoidant, tend to try to put everybody else's needs before their own, men who tend to nice girls to death in hopes of getting her affection, love, sex, what have you. They're a pretty significant percentage of the men who end up coming into our community when they first enter anyway. And it's definitely part of my own journey. So I know this type quite well. There is an element of that way of being, the people pleaser, nice guy syndrome, etc., that is not integrous, that is manipulative in its own way. If I'm nice enough, if I do all the right things, if I take care of you, if I focus on making sure all of your needs met, then maybe then you will give me what I really need, meet my needs, etc. That's not actually love. That's not actually service. That's not actually taking care. There is an underlying manipulative element, usually unconscious, but manipulative element to that. And unable to really see, unable to really be clear on where your truth is and be able to communicate that truth, whether we're talking about what you really desire or what your fears are or what your boundaries are. Having an unwillingness or an inability to know what they are, to speak those, and to maintain them. Instead, there are these sideways means of trying to get those needs met. How is that landing for you?
I think like 2 years ago, 100% of it's right on. I think that there's been some work that I've done to kind of try and start to walk forward in this out of that process, but I think a lot of it still resonates with me, and there are certain situations where I fall back to that.
I think there's a certain element of this nice guy syndrome, people pleaser element that's sort of like being an alcoholic. That like if this has been part of you from then on, it's like you're forever in recovery. Yeah, this like I said, this was definitely part of my path, and
yeah, I gotta work on it all the time.
When I go unconscious, that's the direction I can go unconscious.
Absolutely.
And so
it's the path of least resistance in my subconscious mind, where I know I can scoot by and not really have to deal with much if I just am nice to everybody and tell everyone what they want and just kind of go with the flow, when it's not what I want. And I'm hating myself. I'm fighting with myself from the inside. I get home and I'm upset with myself, and I'm discontent and stuff because I'm not living the way that I'd like to. And I didn't say the things I meant, but I also don't have to deal with the bullshit and the problems because they got what they want or something like that.
And where has it left you today? Do you
broken.
have what you want?
No.
What do you want, really?
I think I wanted to have a partner, someone that I could trust and have fun with, and also just be myself around.
Okay, so you want a partner. You want you want to love and be loved. It sounds like you want a family, based on what you said. Moments before.
Yeah, I want to be a dad. Absolutely.
Why do you think you don't have this already?
I don't think that my life has been in a place where it would have been appropriate before this. I think maybe even now I'm stretching it, but I feel more secure and more comfortable with the idea than I ever have. I also feel like I'm running out of time, so I feel like I'm putting pressure on myself to make it happen now, when maybe I shouldn't.
I was 39 when I got married, and and 3 months shy of 40 when my daughter was born. And for me, there was much of, I had made a commitment to myself when I was fairly young that I wasn't going to have a family until I knew that I wasn't just going to repeat the cycle of and create the type of family that I grew up in. And it really took me till I was 39 before I felt like, okay, I can trust myself to do that now. And even still, it wasn't just perfectly smooth. Still, all the things kept coming up and continue to come up, and just an opportunity to continuously address them. But I have tools and ways to do so, and move through so much more than I ever would have had I tried doing it at a younger age. So let me ask you this from a different perspective. You have a certain type of positive frame around this breakdown that's occurred for you right now. But if you were to ask that deepest, most intuitive part of yourself, why all this happened now, if you feel like, okay, if there's this other part of you that feels like, oh, you are ready now to have a child, you do really want this, and yet here it was so close, or so it seemed, and then all ripped away. What do you think that intuitive part would say?
I think deep down inside me, I knew that this wasn't the right way to go about this. I feel like everything that I've been asking for, as far as like in my own personal practice, in a spiritual sense, I've been asking for a lot of change, and I've been seeking it out and trying to do a lot of visualization, and I wanted everything about my life to be different. I mean, my environment, my living situation, the people that I was surrounded by, I don't feel like were healthy, and I don't feel like were appropriate for me to thrive and be who I really wanted to be. And I knew that soon, because I was starting to hit a boiling point, and I was watching things start to break down around me, that there was going to be a change soon. I didn't know how or what it was going to happen, but I had this feeling like something big's going to happen, because it feels like things are starting to set up in a way where like it just can't continue. That's for sure. Like there's no way that this can continue. It's not sustainable. And I don't really feel like she was the right person, but she was good enough. I think I've done that to myself a lot, the good enough. And my living situation was inappropriate for a kid, and also was not appropriate for me to have a good life and stuff, just because I was living, a friend took me in, and her line of work is not something that I really care to be around very often. And just like the men and the other people that are constantly coming in and out of the house is something that I have to deal with. It's not a stable place for me to work, especially when I work from home. So I'm always spending time in coffee shops and different places like that. And I'm a home person. I like to spend time in my space and make that space kind of sacred. And so I've wanted that really bad. And I think the only way that was going to happen, because I'm a little bit lazy, is if everything was gone. Because as long as I had everything that I had, I wasn't going to push to get anything else. And so I believe that something was done for me that I couldn't do for myself, which was actually really great. And so I feel like it's good. It doesn't feel good, but the facts are great. I don't have these things in my life anymore. I have a clean slate. I have an overwhelming amount of like passion, desire, and motivation to move forward. And I don't feel hindered up or tripped up by it. So I feel like I can, if I'm careful and I talk to the right people and I use mentorship and stuff like that, I can use this to move forward in a big way.
So first of all, I want to acknowledge you again for the perspective that you're holding around this. Quite often in these types of conversations, I have to be the one really introducing this type of frame that you seem to have already really taken on around this. So it's going to serve you very well. So how then do you want to best utilize the potency of this moment? The fact that everything's been ripped away. There's just so much energy here in this moment. Mm-hmm. How are you directing that? Who are you committed to stepping into moving forward into this next chapter of your life?
Well, I think something that I picked up on literally like yesterday. I started your book, and there's a concept in there with there's three aspects of life, and there's like kind of two choices, like the cause effect, past, present, or cause effect, present, future. And reading that yesterday really gave me some insight on what's possible, because I've been working with this other man who talks.
I'm going to pause you for a moment just to give a little breakdown as to what that means. So this is in the Self as Creator section of the Evolved Masculine book. Sorry, I just moved into a new home, so my background's crap and I don't have all my things set up yet. But it's a paradigm shift, a perspective shift in how you view your life that can, depending on where, and right now I'm speaking to the audience here, that depending on where you're currently at, could transform your relationship to yourself and your own power. There's what much of our society ends up teaching, instilling in us, is this past, present notion of identity. I am my past. I had this happen to me. I had that happen to me. Oh, when I was in middle school, I got beat up by this kid, and therefore this. Oh, I had my first kiss went like that. Oh, et cetera, et cetera. Therefore, this is who I am. And the present future orientation of your identity is I am who I am choosing to be in this moment. The words I'm speaking, the actions that I am taking, the thoughts I am choosing to think, all of that is creating who I am now. And with this, I am creating the man that I am becoming. I'm holding a vision of the man. I'm holding a vision of the man that I'm choosing to become, holding that vision. Further detailing that vision. This is a whole process that we work deeply with in the Evolved Masculine Power trainings that we do. And then moment by moment, these choices that I make now, in this now, will be creating that future. Present to future orientation of self, orientation of your identity. Okay, you were saying Wyatt?
And so with that, I was working with somebody, and he has a very, it's the same concept, but it was explained in a way where I didn't understand it. And so reading that yesterday was so profound for me because it just clicked. All this other stuff that I've been learning clicked, and I realized what this man was trying to teach me because it was simplified down to just to how I could understand it. You know, in a way where like, this is my now, and I can consciously choose to be whoever I want to be. And then he always says, you know, what would the person you're becoming, what would he choose? What would he do for
Right.
himself? And so,
Yep.
and it's like, I understood that, but I didn't have a visualization of it yet. And so this now adds the visualization part to it. And I feel confident because I feel like, you know, the person that I want to be is already there. It's out there. But just like when you plant a garden, you don't come out the next day and all of a sudden you're harvesting vegetables and stuff. So I understand that it's a process, and I have to stick with this idea long enough for it to show up and not change my mind and double back and go the other way. Because if I turn around too soon, I'm going to give up on myself before it actually shows up. And I think I've done that to myself before.
So let's explore this a little bit. Our follow-up man who we're going to do this with has gotten camera shy and has pulled back last minute. So we have a little bit more spaciousness that I'd love to draw out with you more about who is this man that you are choosing to become. I use the phrase your evolved masculine self, the man who is on the other, like right now you're in various forms of pain and struggle in this moment. Totally understand. To be honest, most of us are carrying some pain and struggle with this moment in time. and your evolved masculine self is on the other side of that pain and struggle. It's not that he never had it. He's on the other side of it. You can think of it as a next level version of the man that you are becoming. It can even be several chapters down the line of the man that you are becoming.
Absolutely.
But I believe that through this process that we teach, first with the Evolved Masculine Blueprint, which if you're watching this, just you can even comment blueprint and we'll get it over to you. Or from there, the deeper guided visualization process, where we take you through a process to see, hear, feel, experience him now as an embodiment form in front of you. Tell me about him.
So I think I'm still developing it, but like when I do my visualization and I get really pure with and connected to that, I see a man that's, you know, loves the ocean. I have the ocean around me, and I have, I'm eating better. I'm taking care of myself. I'm conscious of what I'm putting in my body as far as food. And I just have this overwhelmed desire. I want to help people. I've been through a lot, and I know that being a teacher, being some sort of mentor, being some sort of coach is something that I want to be in my life, but I have to get to the end of my chapter, and you know, I have to finish. I guess like someone says, like, you got to finish your book before you can sell it. And so I feel like I've gotten through a lot of stuff in my life, but I haven't. There's not the okay, now succeed. You know, I've gotten through a lot of stuff. I've overcome a lot of stuff in my life, and now, you know, I'm venturing into a lot of different businesses and trying to become successful financially, and those things. I think I tend to try and rush, but I feel a little bit more stable and a little bit more grounded in just being involved in the process and know that it's developing me. And
are you speaking about you today, or you as the man that your evolved masculine self? Let's stay there.
I feel like,
Let's
okay.
stay at your evolved masculine self.
My evolved masculine
self. So what I've gotten about him so far is that he loves the ocean. He's conscious of what he puts in his body, with what he eats. And he helps other people as a mentor, coach for others. This is where you've actually started to step back from that.
Yeah, exactly.
You started to draw back into, well, you can't yet because you have to finish your chapter, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about that at the moment. He has finished the chapter.
So he has a family. You know, he has kids that he adores and takes care of, and he's got a wife and a partner that, you know, is there for him just like he's there for her. And in a way that I used to see my parents like this when I grew up. They're not like that anymore, but I had a pretty good example growing up, and so I have this idea of being like that, or at least
Right.
having providing the same kind of childhood that I had. Having fun. We're going on vacations. We're doing stuff with each other, and it was like I didn't want anything else but to be around my family when I was younger. And it seemed like they wanted the same thing, which I was never neglected. I was always
Okay. I'm sorry. We really need to stay right now on
sorry.
this,
Okay, yeah.
on your evolved masculine self. So, um, there is something about there's something about who he has become, his way of being, that made having that family, creating both having children as well as having a wife who he's there for and who's there for him. There's something about who he has become that has made that natural, that has made that inevitable. Tell me more about that. What are these different qualities or attributes that he has cultivated within himself?
So I think that this man, since he's been through and seen what he's seen, has a level of compassion for other people and is able to hold space for people in a way that I think is just not common. And wanting to use, he uses that his example to be able to show, not only his kids and his wife, like, what's possible, but other people. This person, I believe, is confident and knows what his yes is and knows what his no is, and is not afraid to speak it. That's something I struggle with a lot, but
Staying forward.
yeah. And I just see someone who's confident, just knows where he's going in life, and knows that he has it, knows that anything he wants to do, all he has to do is try, and it's going to happen. It's not really much more than that. Someone, if you want to provoke me with a question or two, I think that's kind of
we're doing right. Mostly right now, I've just been drawing it out. The thing about your evolved masculine self is that it is a constantly evolving notion. That sure. I have evolved my notion of my evolved masculine self quite a few times, and I've been playing with this for around 15 years. Again, my first version of my evolved masculine self it was my erotic rock star self. And I imagined him first, and then I used that vision to create a ridiculous, extraordinary, over-the-top life, and until I felt done with it. And then I felt done with it. I also had a series of crises. My next series of crises that made it clear that this chapter's done, and what's next. And from there, I just reworked these notions with the man that with this new vision that started to come through of much of what you're describing. I got clear at that point. I really wanted a family. And I got the sense that my erotic rockstar lifestyle was not going to easily create a healthy family dynamic.
I lived I told you I DJ'd from the time I was 18 till I was 28, and lived this larger than life. I had more money than my parents ever had. It was great. Right? I had the shallowest friendships and just sex with lots of different people, but it was like I ended up with feeling so empty at the end of it. And at first it was extremely fulfilling, but towards the end of it, it was just I was no longer satisfying, and I had to change. And so I feel like being in where I'm at now, I sometimes want to go back to that person because he had it all, and then but I feel like I'm giving up on developing the person I'm becoming. And I don't think that there's a lot of respect or a lot of space held for me by my peers to go back to that lifestyle, especially from my family. I don't know, maybe like.
Well, I will tell you that this is, no matter what, this is not going to be about going back. It is about, if anything, this is that whole upward spiral element. Taking everything that you have learned before and will be brought into that next level of what you're doing. So even if you went back to creating, being a DJ and creating that kind of a life, it won't be like it was.
Sure.
You have
It
changed, the
couldn't be.
world has changed.
Yes.
And your priorities have changed, and what it is that you're
Absolutely.
most intent on creating for yourself next have changed. So again, I know that when I got clear that creating a family was,
There's a
my
siren
new,
coming real quick.
I hear it,
Okay,
was
sorry.
my new top priority, then it wasn't even so much conscious. My priorities just started shuffling radically.
Yeah.
And the choices that I started making, what was important to me, just started changing. And with that, the choices that I was making just started changing. And initially, there were parts of it that felt incredibly uncomfortable because it was so unknown. It was particularly because of the erotic rockstar lifestyle. My lifestyle was led by excitement. And these new choices were not necessarily the most exciting option.
Yeah.
And instead I started finding my way to learning about the pleasures of subtleties.
Like the delayed gratification and knowing that you're building something long term rather
Also
than
true.
for the weekend.
Yeah, also true. Also very, very true. And the part that I was speaking to is that there's a different kind of enjoyment that I found. That again, prior in my erotic rockstar years, much of my enjoyment was about hyper stimulation, and so instead I started to find the more sublime pleasures.
I think one thing for
The
me is stepping into some
Yes.
more of like a wisdom role, something that like is slow to respond, someone who takes his time to make his decisions because there's no rush anymore because I'm not in that young, fast-paced lifestyle. And I feel like that starting to embody that type of older wisdom is something that I'm starting to pick up on. I'm starting to notice myself thinking in more, wanting to take some time to meditate on something before I give an answer rather than just shooting off and wanting to be right away. Like being okay with not knowing and saying, let me take some time to think about that.
Maturity. Wonderful. So I've added that further to your notion of your well masculine self. I'm going to share back to you, reflect back to you what I've heard so far. All right.
Yeah.
Your evolved masculine self loves the ocean. He's conscious of what he puts in his body, especially with what he eats. He is focused on helping other people, particularly as a mentor or coach of others in some way, taking this intense life experience that he's had and hold compassionate, powerful, safe space for others in a way that's not common. He's able to use his example to show his family as well as others of what is possible. He has a family, children that he adores, a wife and a partner who he is there for and who is also there for him. He's a man who is confident. He knows what his yes is, he knows what his no is, and he does not hesitate to express his truth. He knows what he wants in life and he goes for it. And he knows with his effort, it will happen. He's not in a rush anymore. He has more of that wisdom of an elder. He's able to be more slow in his response. Anything else? Anything else that I may have missed?
No, I mean, I like that. It's something that I've been picturing and I feel like I've been stepping into and bit by bit becoming more in tune with. I feel like that man is already here inside me. It's just kind of peeling off the layers and things that are the resistance that's around it. I think I know what I need to work on, but
so let's just play around with this for a moment. Well, first of all, how did it feel for you to hear this reflected back to you succinctly?
it was exciting, and also made me feel like, gosh, why is it when I think of myself that I can't organize it in a way where I have a hard time even remembering what I've said, and like, for instance, I've tried to write this down before, and it just sounded more put together coming from you than it did from me. I don't know if
Well,
that's
so in other words, when you heard it's reflected back to you, you fairly quickly went into self-judgment.
yes.
Okay, so first of all, that's worth noting. One, keep in mind, I have done this countless times. Countless times. I'm aware at this point this is both a gift of mine as well as something that I have cultivated through repetition and repetition across many years. So if you wonder why you can't do it as well as I have done it, if you could just out of the blue done it as well as I did, that's more of a reflection around, wait, how can somebody just do this out of nowhere as well as me? Clearly I need to step up my game.
I wouldn't be on the call right now, right?
Well, yeah, it doesn't, you're here, you have your areas of expertise. You said that you were a successful DJ for a number of years. Well, I like music. I can't, should I listen to you play music and immediately be like, oh, why can't I just jump on the decks and do the exact same thing right now?
Yeah.
No, you spent years honing your craft. That's the difference. So you put in here, knows what he wants in life and goes for it, knows with his effort it will happen. Well, knowing what you want and knowing that with your effort it will happen is not the same thing as expecting yourself to get it right and do it all perfectly right from the outset. In fact, it's almost never that way.
I don't expect it to be.
So the thing with this man that you are committed to becoming, one, I'll send you over these notes. You'll also have this recording to play with. I do invite you to keep writing about him, keep thinking about him, find people in your life you can talk to about him. Yeah, I wrote in my book, The Evolved Masculine, that I got obsessed around this notion. And I was dreaming about him. I was thinking about him in the shower. I was just constantly like piecing him together more and more, or finding him more and more, discovering through my life experimentation, ooh, I thought I wanted that, or I thought I wanted this way, but now that I'm actually starting to get a taste of it, nope, not that, drop that, let's do this. And through that was just doing a rapid fire iteration, like a rapid fire testing process to get clear on who is this man? Who is this man? And that's how it happens. By choosing today, how can you show up more as him today? Oh, he is conscious of what he eats and puts in his body. Great. For the rest of the day, how conscious can you be of what you eat and put in your body?
Yeah.
How can you help other people today? How could you hold space in a compassionate and profound way that's uncommon for somebody today? How can you be slower to respond, not be in a rush? Really consider before answering today. How can you go for something that you want in your life today? How can you speak your yes, speak your no? Clearly, confidently, today. Now, you can say all that, and you can get off this call and move forward and begin acting in this way. And somewhere, you will misstep. You'll maybe forget entirely, just kind of slips your mind. Oh, there you are in the old pattern again. Or maybe you kind of did it, but there's this other part of you that could easily go into, well, you didn't do it as well as you think that you should have, or all these different things. These are the places where people really fuck up. This is why New Year's resolutions fail all the time as well. Change is a process. It's a process. Some things can happen quicker than you would have imagined possible. Yes. Some things take longer than you would have hoped for. Also true. But hold the vision and commit to it. Commit doesn't mean let me try it out until wait, I misstepped there. I'm a fucking loser. I can't ever do this. Might as well forget about it. Like, when the misstep occurs, remember this as well. The misstep is part of the process. It's not an indication that you can't do it. It's part of doing it. It's part of doing it.
There will be failures, but
there will be.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. It's just, what do you do then? You just notice it as quickly as you can and refocus and recommit. That's all. And notice the difference. Like, oh, well, you know what? For example, yesterday I was really good about, I was really conscious of what I put in my body. I did this, and oh my God, it felt good. Assuming this is true for you. It felt good. It felt good to follow through on my commitment. I felt a greater sense of vibrancy or health in my body. I felt lighter in my body. Fuck, today I just ate McDonald's. Instead of, I'm a loser, blah, 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 it's like, why did I do that? Mm-hmm. Was there something, what was going on for me in that moment? There's some sort of clue in there that triggered it. Maybe you were already feeling low, you were feeling emotionally, you were struggling with something emotionally, and so those places had you feeling weak overall, and you went to some sort of unconscious habit pattern that felt like comfort. Okay, great. Well, maybe there's something that you can put into place for the next time that thing would occur, so that you make a different decision this time instead. So it's all information. It's all information to help you move back towards what you're choosing. But also, okay, so I had at McDonald's, and I'm using an extreme example here. But and how did that feel? Yesterday, light, vibrant, I had that at McDonald's. How do I feel? Oh, I feel heavy. I feel more lethargic. I feel more foggy head. It's harder for me to stay focused on my goals. Okay, great. Take that feedback, and it can be utilized to further that commitment into your why. Why is your evolved masculine self conscious of what he eats and puts in his body? This is why. Strengthen that why. Commit again.
Yeah.
Maybe next time will just be longer before you fall off that wagon. Great, it's a win. You took it further than you would have if you didn't have this conscious commitment. Now, refocus, recommit. Can you beat that? Yeah. And you can keep moving in this way until the old pattern just starts to become a lesser and lesser part of your life. And the new pattern is like that muscle that you keep working on at the gym. It's not just, you decide to go to the gym once, now you're strong, now you have strong biceps. Yeah. It's like, no, you kept giving it attention, But if you keep going, you keep giving it, you keep doing those reps, you get the results. So same thing here. Just keep
rebuilding all those pathways and stuff.
Exactly. You're building new neural pathways. You're strengthening those new neural pathways. You're giving less energy and attention to the old neural pathways. You're not firing them. Over time, they will start to wither. Thus far, you've built them fairly strong. That's fine. Give them less and less attention. Actively build the new ones. I'm not giving you an instant everything is different on one level, but at the same time, if you really take this in and work with this guided visualization process particularly, so that you tap into this vision of him on a daily basis and recommit on a daily basis, this can be a moment that does change the trajectory for you.
I believe that it's going to.
Okay, so you're in our Evolved Masculine Brotherhood. I would like for you to commit to giving us some form of an update. Is that
Yeah, I would.
something
I'd love to. Yeah.
great? How about let's start with 1 week from today. So Wednesday, the 29th, can you commit to doing a full, kind of fairly detailed post in the Evolve Masculine Brotherhood Facebook group
Can I
about
can I
what
make
has
a
happened?
video and post it, or do you want me to do it in written form?
You know what? Generally speaking, the answer is no, but we will make the exception for you in this scenario. Okay.
I mean, I just said, yeah. Sometimes people prefer video over things, so I just wanted to see
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you wanted.
Overall, in the Facebook group, we found that Facebook Lives in the group end up not working when we have large numbers of people in the group. So we keep that just to the leadership team to be able to communicate that way. But this is a special circumstance.
I mean, if I just record myself, like in my own time, record myself, and then just post it in the group.
Yes. Keep it under 5 minutes.
Okay.
So plan ahead of time.
Yeah, I'll rehearse to make sure that I keep it around like 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, sure. I just said under 5, but yeah, people definitely engage better when it's longer. It can help to just have some bullet points of like, okay, you want to hit this, and this. So you're not scripting it. You can be very much from the heart, but you're going to hit these points.
Perfect. Yeah, I can do that.
Wonderful. What I want to see from you is during these 7 days, since you have been going through the book, fantastic, by the way, thank you. And you have access to that guided visualization, work with the visualization, and even the longer 20-minute visualization, you don't need to do that every day. If you can, but that's not necessary. Once you really have it in your system, you can do that like 2-minute, just like retouch it. The main thing is for you to reconnect to him, to see him, feel into his presence, speak to him, just strengthen your the neural pathways within you, so that these attributes, these ways of being, are anchored in your system. For those who have read the book, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. Those who haven't, will make more sense as you do. These are all processes that we work with on in Evolve Masculine Power, our longer 3-month group deep dive, which we're just starting enrollment for now. Thank you, Wyatt. I'm doing a little plug at the moment. If you're watching this and you feel what's happening here, you get this, you think that this type of a process would be very valuable for you, you could DM me or comment in underneath here. You could just put EMP, let's just start there, and or masculine power. And we'll reach out to you. I'll have somebody on our team reach out to you, and we'll explore whether this process would be valuable for you. We also have the Evolve Masculine Blueprint, which we also talked about during this session today. Again, just type blueprint into the chat box here, and we'll reach out to you, make sure that you have access to that. That will take you through just like my transmission of the Evolve Masculine as I view it, as well as give you a writing prompt to help you get clear on what that is and what that means to you. Wyatt, I want to really thank you. I know that we had some choppiness to getting started. Communication could have been better on our side as well, for sure. I want to apologize for that. And
we made it happen. That's good though.
We did. When we got into the right spot, we really made it worthwhile. Thank you for your openness and vulnerability, and I look forward to your share Wednesday the 29th next week. That's a full commitment to me, yourself, and the men here, correct?
Absolutely. Yes, I will.
Wonderful.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, Wyatt. Take care for now.
Hey, thank you.